Hi guys, ERIKATESLA here. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, thank you so much for deciding to click on this video. And if you're returning, it is so great to have you back. Today, I am so excited to be able to share with you a new launch. I'm really proud of myself because I managed to get the look done. This look done and some swatches done ahead of the actual release date. So my goal and my hope is that this video will go up on launch day or at a minimum the day after, but whenever this is, like, I'm just really excited to share with you guys the Witch's Familiar palette. This is the newest Fantasy Cosmetica launch. This is such a cute launch for the spooky season, Halloween season, autumn season. This is in collaboration with Betty Jean of BATTYBEAN, and if you are not familiar with her content, she does these gorgeous sultry looks, like just very like bold but ethereal at the same time. She's just super duper talented. I have had the pleasure of meeting Betty Jean a couple of times now at Creators and Friends events, and I just want to say she's such a sweet person. So it makes me feel good that someone who is very nice has an experience and an opportunity like this to launch something. And I know this isn't her first collab, but excited to see her at it again. I was very fortunate to receive her collab with Odin's Eye a few years ago, where she did a collab with Odin's Eye as well as a couple of other content creators. And so now to see her launching something new with yet another indie brand, I mean, it's very apropos for her. She does a lot of indie makeup reviews and looks and rankings, and her channel is just super fun to watch. So I will link her profile, her YouTube and socials below so that you can check out her channel if you're not familiar with her already. But I'll just say every interaction I've had with her has been just really, really lovely. So I'm just super happy for her and very proud of her. I'm a little bit older than her, so, you know, not to claim anything, but, you know, it's like when you see like your little sister like doing something really cool, you're just happy for them. So congratulations, Betty Jean. And that's enough yapping. I'm going to show you the inside of the palette. So you have this really cool mirror, okay, that has this beautiful frame, so you can look in here and just be framed by this very cool red framing around the mirror. And then of course we have the colors, we have the shades. So we have 12 beautiful shades with a mix of mattes and shimmers and a duochrome in here. And as you can see from my look, I obviously used this palette for this look, so we're going to get into a tutorial with this palette. But this, I used almost every shade in here with the exception of the shade Spells. But I am gonna just say, first impressions, I was really impressed with the pigmentation. I did use an eye base for this look since these are more bold colors, and I really wanted to make sure that everything showed up the way that I wanted it to. I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation on my lids, so I made sure to use an eye base. It's just this Jason Wu eye prime in the shade Light. And overall, I have to say I'm pretty happy with how this look came out. So I'm going to throw up some swatches for you guys so you can see how the colors look. Like I said, we have these 4 beautiful rows of shades. This top row here, we have like a bluish family, and then the middle is purpley, and I'm actually okay with purple dominance. Like I love the color purple. It's one of my favorite colors. And then we have this bottom row here of these like gorgeous red shades that are just absolutely stunning. And this palette, you absolutely have the option to work it in different sections, right? Like this top row, you absolutely could create a look just with these 3 shades right here. You could do an all shimmer look. I'm probably not telling you anything that you aren't thinking looking at this, but you know, just sometimes saying it out loud helps. There are just a lot of options with this palette. Now, the one thing that I will say that I did add, and I'll talk about this more in the tutorial portion, just, you know, this palette has just about everything you need for a look, with the exception of like a neutral shade. Obviously, you don't need that. This really is a palette that if your style is more so colorful, or you're just like a one and done kind of person, like this is right up your alley. But for me, I was just looking for a shade to kind of soften the brow bone area, so I just pulled in like a matte neutral shade and it was all good. I think at this point, if you're really into like more niche brands and more niche palettes and things like that, you likely also have some of the more general basic stuff that you need to serve as a companion to a palette like that. So like this, sorry. So if you are thinking like, oh, this is just like a very specific color story. It is. I personally love that. But I also have things in my collection that if I wanted to just pull from this palette that I could without any issue. So that's just something to consider. So this palette definitely is for the colorful makeup lover. For anyone who's thinking about bringing back 2016 makeup, like this is your girl right here. This is something to think about. But overall, I thought that this was a really, really beautifully done palette. And I want to take a moment to also talk about the packaging. Okay, so this is the slip cover. Look at this iridescent shimmery framing here. It's red, and then you have this adorable kitty cat. He looks serious. But I feel like that is very much what cats look like. That's what they do. They look very focused and serious. I don't know that this is the kind of cat that wants belly rubs, but he's definitely, he or she is helping out their witch guardian, okay, with the spells and whatnot. So if you're not familiar with the terminology, the witch's familiar is usually like a witch's, I guess, pet. That's the best way I could describe it. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to say that. And we have this like moon, and I will say Fantasy Cosmetica, I'm always impressed with the artwork. They're probably one of the few brands that's not using AI. Not that I personally have anything against that, but I know for some people, they have feelings about it, as they should. But for the most part, to my knowledge, Fantasy Cosmetica has used like actual artists to create their artwork for their palettes and covers and things like that. And so this is a really nice representation here. And if you're a cat lover, I think this is going to be perfect for you. So I've chatted a little bit about the palette. I will just say I don't know the pricing information, but this palette is coming out. I'm going to actually look and see when this palette is coming out so that I can tell you. Okay, so this palette is launching October 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 12 p.m. EST. And that's really all the information that I have. I don't have pricing on this. I'm not sure how much this is going to cost, guys. I'm actually going to go on their website and see what their pricing usually happens to be. Okay, so let's see. This is a 12 pan palette, and I'm trying to see if they have anything that's like comparable. No, the 9. Okay, so the 9 palette, they have a 9 pan palette here, the Bard palette, which is $38.99. There's a 12 pan palette that was $51. I'm going to see if I can find another 12 pan palette. The Enchanted Autumn palette, which was Amanda's palette, is still available, and that one also had 12 shades. That retailed for $45. I'm not sure what the pricing is going to be. Do believe Fantasy Cosmetica is located in the US. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure they're in the US, so I'm not really sure if they're going to have any of the challenges some of the other out of the US indie brands have had in terms of pricing. But I haven't seen the price yet, but when I do have it, I will include that somewhere in this video or in the description box for you guys when I do get that information. So with that being said, guys, that is some of the initial information about the palette. Again, it's coming out October 1st. I want to go ahead and get into the tutorial for this eye look. Makeup Me is going to come back zoomed in and talk you through this look. So let's get into it. All right, guys, I'm going to start out with this shade Chant here. It's this beautiful blood red shade. And you guys, red is an eyeshadow color that I feel is kind of underrated. Like, I think it's kind of hard for a lot of people to conceptualize how to get like these red colors to work, but I'm really excited about this one. So it's looking kind of burgundy, and just for reference, guys, I have the Jason Woo Prime Eye, and this is it's an eyeshadow primer base. I don't know that it has, oh yeah, this is called Light. This is the light one. I'm pretty sure it's available. They used to have it at Target, and I think that the brand phased out. I don't know. I haven't been in a Target in a hot minute, but I know Camera Ready Cosmetics was selling their products as well. And please don't be afraid, guys, because I'm just going for it with this look. This is one of the few days of my week I don't have to be on a Zoom call, so I get to be a little bit less inhibited today, which is really fun and exciting. So I'm kind of just like dragging the color out, and I'm not really stressing too much because I'm gonna be able to clean this up. And I'm just using an old Huda Beauty brush from the what is it, that kind of pastel pinky palette, you guys. Brain brain fog is real. Okay, perimenopause is real, because I know you guys know which one I'm talking about, but it was the one that looked like she was in space, because I know that I know it, and I still have it, but there's a brush duo, like a dual-ended brush that came with it. With that, okay, so I have this shade. I might go back in and build it up, but I'm gonna go in. I got a couple of Sigma brushes here. I have my E38 diffuser crease brush. I'm on the like most random brushes in my collection right now, guys, just because it is so past time for me to wash them. So I have a pile of brushes that they're gonna get washed one of these days. Soon, because I want to keep filming for you guys. I want to keep posting looks and things like that for you guys. But I'm going in with the shade Tarot. It's pulling pink. I'm using that Jason Wu eye prime, and I think what's happening is like it's giving like more of a pinkish look, mostly because the primer is almost white. But I really wanted to cancel out like my own natural eye color so you guys can kind of see how the colors perform. I have a little bit of hyperpigmentation around my lash line area, and that does not always lend itself to like the most clean eyeshadow application. And I'm going back in with the shade Chant and deepening that up. So essentially my process involves a lot of going back and forth, but so far I'm really impressed with how the mattes are going on. Again, I am using an eye primer, so it'd be interesting to see how these shades perform without any kind of base. But so far so good. I can't complain too much. It's coming together. It's not dragging or anything like that. The color's going on pretty nicely. And I'm just going back and forth with the brushes here. This is the brush that I used, used for Tarot. I'm just blending that out. And this is gonna get cleaned up. So please have no fear. Like whatever is happening here, this is gonna get cleaned up. But I'm just having fun with this right now. I'm so excited for Betty Jean. Like this is such a cool collab. All right, so I am going to pull in a little bit of Coven, this purple shade, and I'm going to place that on the outer V as well. And I'm trying to do a little bit more of a precise placement on the actual lid, and then we'll fuse that a little bit. But this is a shade I'm using as a deepening shade. It's a little bit deeper than Chant, but I think that they're going to play nicely together. And what I'm anticipating I'm going to do is add some shimmers on top of all of this to just pull the look together. But I can't resist a good purple. I love purple shades. So I'm just going back and forth with Coven here, and I'm using the other side of this dual-ended brush that I have. Like I said, I'm at the end of my supply. I'm going in brushes that have come from other collections, but I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together. Who else suffers from brush scarcity from time to time? Like where you're at the end and then you're just pulling for whatever you can manage to find. So I'm pulling this color in, and I have some interesting choices to make. I could either go in with the shade Cauldron, or I could go in with the shade Potion. And I'm kind of leaning towards Potion just because it's such an interesting teal. And I'm gonna put this on with my finger to maximize the pigment. And look at that. I am low-key obsessed with that. Like I could just leave that like that. Like it's such a creamy matte. The true test will be if I experience any creasing, but it is going on like a dream. And yes, I'm aware of how like wild this is looking right now, but this is what's fun about the application process. You really trust the process is really real when you're doing anything with more bold eyeshadow colors. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people gravitate towards the neutrals, is because off the bat you can swipe and you're like, I know this is gonna be a solid look. But with this, you can go from drama to clown really quickly, but I'm not really worried about that. I think this is actually gonna be really nice. And I'm just gonna refine a little bit with this other brush. This is a, let's see, what side is this? This is another, oh, this is the E54 medium sweeper side of another Sigma brush that I have. So I'm just tapping the shade here, almost lending a cut crease line to this part of the look. I'm trying not to go too much over the color that I already laid down because I don't want the brush to really sweep it away. So I'm kind of tapping the color. I don't want to sweep, I'm just tapping it on. And it should adhere pretty pretty well, again, with that primer base. It should adhere pretty well. And I'm gonna do a little bit of blending with my finger. I feel like there's so many tools out now, which is great, but does anybody miss the early 2000s when I used to slap my makeup on with my hands, my foundation. I actually used to get teased for that. Like, why don't you use a brush? And I'm just blending this out a little bit because it's looking a little hard. I want to diffuse that. I'm using a brush that already had the shade either Tarot or Enchant on it. One of the two shades. I'm blending that out, and I'm going back in on this side as well. And just going back and forth, guys, with these colors. Okay. Like, I feel like I kind of have a general idea of what I like so far with this look. I'm gonna go in with a couple of different shimmers right now, and I'm gonna apply these with my finger. I'm gonna use the shade Moonlight. It just looks so delicate and pretty, and I'm gonna tap that on top of Potion and hope that they play nicely together. And I'm pretty jazzed about how this is turning out. I think that Potion is proving to be a very nice base for Moonlight. That's really stunning. And we're gonna put some on the other side as well. And I'm zoomed in, hopefully giving you an idea close up of how it looks. And you can see how, yes, it's a little messy, but we're gonna go in, have no fear, we're gonna go in and clean it up. And then I wanna go in, so there's some other cool shades here. We have this shade Alter, and I'm gonna put Alter, it's this one, somewhat on the center, and let that blend in or diffuse into the shade Moonlight. I knew I was gonna probably put shimmers all over this look, which is why I was probably not super careful with the matte shades. I really just went in there with it. I tried not to overthink it. And then for this part, I'm definitely thinking I want to use this shade Herb. So it's this purple shimmer here. I'm gonna put that on with my pinky. And the beauty of not having any other part of my face done yet is that it's going to be so easy to just clean this up. So I'm literally just swiping this on here and going for it. Okay, we're going to just be messy and have a good time. What I'm gonna do next, guys, is I'm gonna actually pull in just like a neutral matte shade to soften the effects of the primer that I put down and to blend out this brow bone area. And then I'm gonna come back and work on the bottom part after I do some complexion stuff. So I will be back. I've cleaned up a little bit, so hopefully you're starting to see the vision. I did this off camera just because I didn't think it was going to be super exciting for you guys, but I took this shade Coriander from the Sigma Spectrum palette. It's just an all neutral palette, and I would say that this is actually a very nice companion to Which Is Familiar if you're looking for a neutral shade to kind of help do, I would say, like those little detailed tweaks and things that help with blending, because some shades, like, they may not necessarily be super exciting, but for a very dynamic palette like Which Is Familiar, I thought it was nice as an add-on. And you can use whatever neutral shades that you happen to have, and this is something that I personally like to do. So I just took that shade Coriander with a fluffy brush and kind of used it to help diffuse the crease shade a little bit and soften those lines. And then I went in with literally just a makeup wipe to clean up the edges. So I want to go in now with an eyeliner, and I'm gonna actually pull in my Charlotte Tilbury dual-ended liner. I have this shade Super Blue Matte, and it's this dual-ended eyeliner. This is the more poppy blue shade. It's the metallic side, but I'm gonna go in with the matte side to line my waterline, and I'm just looking down in my mirror right here. So I'm sorry if you guys have to look into my eyeball right now, but this is basically how I line my waterline, and I really do like this Charlotte Tilbury pencil for a variety of reasons. I have a brown one, just the regular brown one, and honestly it's become one of my favorite eyeliner pencils. I know, like, there are way more affordable options, which I enjoy too, but I have to say, like, Charlotte Tilbury liner pencils have been really impressing me. Those are the two that I have. There's a green shade that I've been keen to maybe try out at some point. It's this very pretty forest shade green, so maybe we'll see during the Sephora sale if that ends up being something that I pick up. But I'm just lining the waterline. I like a dark waterline. I know some people like lighter waterlines, but I think for my eye shape and my eye color, it's worked out pretty well for me. And I'm gonna also take a little bit of this color and put it here as well. And mind you, I don't have anything else on my face except for like just moisturizer and probably not even primer. I've just been trying to rehydrate my face because I don't know what it is. My skin seems to sense that the seasons are changing and it's been a little bit dry. It's been a little bit dry. So hopefully, okay, this isn't perfect, but that's okay. I'm gonna go in with a brush to diffuse that. And if you hear something spray off camera, don't mind me, it's just my Cinema Secrets. I keep Cinema Secrets in a paper towel all the time, so when I'm in between palettes, colors, things like that, I'm just switching the shades up. But I'm gonna go in with the shade Feline. It's this very pretty navy blue shade, and I think it's gonna be a really nice shade to work with that Charlotte Tilbury blue eyeliner. Like, those colors are kind of similar. So just to show you, here's the Charlotte Tilbury and here's the shade Feline. So not probably exactly the same, but super, super close, super, super close. So I'm just using this Moda brush. This is a short shader brush, and I'm keeping it close to the lash line because with these darker shades, and for someone like me with a little bit of crinkling here, it can get crazy really fast. I know generally it's, you know, not always ideal to do these like super dark liners, but hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. I am going to be diffusing this color a little bit, but I'm gonna leave that here for right now, only because I am actually gonna finish my complexion and then I'll come back and finish the rest of the eye look with you guys. Okay guys, I am back. I finished, or for the most part, I put my foundation on, and I'm just going back in and blending the shade Feline that I put on the bottom, and I might go in with another color to kind of diffuse that, but I'm just blending it. I have this is an Alter Ego brush. This is a 201 brush. They actually have some pretty nice affordable brushes. They sent me a set with one of their launches a while back, and I use them pretty often. They're actually pretty good quality. They are synthetic, hence the affordability factor. But we're just going in and blending and softening this darker shade. And I'm actually going to go in with some potion, put that on top, and just layer that. It's something I like to try to do when I'm doing like a more dramatic lower lash line look where I'm adding color. It just softens that border between the look and the rest of the face, and this little brush is nice. And I can still go back in and clean up a little bit because I didn't put my concealer on yet. I really just went in with foundation, bronzer. I put a little bit of concealer on to shape the nose a little bit, but that's really it. I'm just diffusing this color, blending that into my little eye wrinkles at the bottom here. And I think I'm liking that effect. This is all gonna come together when I do the lashes. I'm definitely gonna do some mascara and lashes with this look as well. And I'm just blending that out. I like that. I like that. So I'm gonna clean up with some concealer and then be back to add a little bit more pizzazz to this look. All right guys, so I'm back. I did a little bit of concealer to kind of clean up this area a little bit. And I wanna add some more shimmer and sparkle to this look. So hopefully I won't regret that decision, not because the shimmers and sparkles aren't beautiful, but because this might look crazy. We're gonna go in with a little bit of the shade Herbs. So I love purple shimmers and I'm really excited. I'm going in with my Clionadh Cosmetics X Bad to the Brow brush. I don't know what this one is called. I don't know if there's like a name on this one, but it came with the Light Scatters collection, which is also very beautiful. And this is such a great little brush for precise application of a shimmery sparkle. And so I'm putting some of this over the shade Herbs. I'm sorry, I'm putting Herbs over this bottom lash line area, and I'm liking that. I think it's giving a little interest to an otherwise pretty matte area. I like that. It's giving me a little bit of shimmer. Do you see the difference here between this eye, which was just the two matte shades, and then we've got a little bit of shimmer. So this is serving as a really nice base. It's a deep base to bring out the beautiful shimmer of this shade Herbs. And I'm just taking that, I'm dabbing it and swiping it along this bottom lash line here. I don't think there are any rules when it comes to shimmer placement. I think you should put it wherever you want to. I know that there are certain things that can be more flattering, but I think this looks really cool. I'm gonna pull in this shade Oracle, which is a lighter purple shimmer, and I'm gonna put that here on the inner part of the lower lash line, and I think that that looks really nice together with Herbs. I think they complement each other, and I tend to go a little bit lighter the further in because I have a little bit more depth in this part of my eyes where they meet the bridge of my nose, and so I like having shades that kind of brighten that inner corner. And I'm just pulling this in. I think that that looks really, really pretty. I've probably used close to every shade in this palette for this look, and I'm really excited about that. And so far I'm liking every shade that I've used. I'm gonna spray a little Cinema Secrets on my paper towel and clean this brush that I just finished using, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Hex, which is this really pretty pink shade, and you can guess where I'm gonna put that. That's gonna definitely be an inner corner. This one's looking a little flaky. It's a little bit of a flaky shimmer, so we're gonna take that on this brush and then dab it here on the inner corner. That is so pretty. I feel like my camera's not doing this shade justice, but I like this brush because my pinky finger's too wide to really place the color precisely, particularly for this kind of formula. So I'm really loving how this brush is working for this, and I'm just dabbing that on there. I'm layering that on there. I could probably wet this. I think I might do that. Might wet the brush just to amp up the intensity of this shade, but I like how this brush is giving me the control that I need to put this where I want to, because this is one of those like tricky spaces on my eye where I need a little bit of extra support with the precision. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of my setting spray, my Professional Super Setting Spray, and I'm wetting the brush. And I'm gonna go back in with this Hex shade, if that amps it up, and it does. That's giving me a little bit more oomph in this area, and I'm just putting that in there. It is a gorgeous color. It's working really nicely with the other shades. And you guys, I think I've used pretty much all of the colors in here. That wasn't initially my goal, but I just kept going. I just kept going and going and going, and I'm not mad at it. I'm gonna go back in with the shade Moonlight. I used my finger before. I think I'm gonna do that again. I think I'm gonna go back in with some Moonlight just to kind of create a little bit more of a transition and soften that edge between Moonlight and Hex. So I'm looking at my viewfinder and also my mirror below, so I apologize for not giving you guys direct eye contact. Although, how do you feel about that? Do you like it when content creators are like staring at you the whole time they're doing their makeup, or do you mind if they're maybe looking off to the side just so they can do their look? So I am really, really digging this, guys. I'm gonna come back with some liner and some lashes, and then talk about some of my first impressions of this palette. Okay guys, I am back. This is the total look, the complete look. I have the eyes, the lips, the face, everything done, and I just want to get a little bit into my first impressions of the Witches Familiar palette, which is, I think, a very stunning palette. Very, very apropos for the fall season, for the winter season, for those months where you might want to delve into some deeper shades. Overall, I used just about every color in this palette with the exception of Spells. And now you guys at this point in the video have probably seen the swatches already, but just here is Spells. So this is going to be one that I definitely want to delve into. I'm telling you, these shimmers are very, very emollient, very soft. I would recommend using a primer for a formula like this, but overall, I'm really, really pleased with the performance of these shades. These mattes were very blendable for me. I didn't have any issues getting them to work nicely together. Fantasy Cosmetica has a really nice formulation. I have a couple of their other palette that I've received either in PR. I have two palettes that I got from Creators and Friends, and the other one that I have, the Fall Magic palette from Amanda of Makeup Just for Fun. So it's really cool to see them collabing with some of my favorite content creators here on this app. But I will just say, as far as initial impressions, I really think this is a pretty cohesive color story. I love purples. I love red shades. I'm always keen on these kind of teal colors. So this color story for me is right up my alley. So I would say personal preference wise, if you like colors like this, you're going to really enjoy the formulations. Like I was really impressed with how smoothly this purple worked, how smoothly the red worked. And of course, you know, this is one of those things where you just got to test it out and see how it performs and holds up throughout the day, but I definitely anticipate reaching for this for some other looks. The shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. We have a duochrome shade in here with this shade Alter that is just really cool. This is such, it's like almost wet. One caveat I will say is if you do happen to have textured lids and you're maybe like a little bit more crepey like I am, I would definitely recommend using some kind of a primer and maybe going in with your finger to really work the color into your skin and make sure that it adheres. And then again, a primer just for the fact that you want to reduce the creasing as much as possible. Sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do with these shades. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more of a wear test to determine that element of the palette. But I would say as far as the color story and the matte formulations and the interest of the shimmers, this is definitely a really beautiful palette. I do not have a code with Fantasy Cosmetica, but I think that a number of creators do, so please consider using a code if you're thinking of picking this one up. If you like a little drama, if you like a little mysteriousness to your looks, this is such a fun color story. And they did it without a black shade, which is really interesting to me. We have instead this really beautiful deep blue shade called Feline, and I'm actually okay with that. I feel like there are plenty of shades that you likely have in your collection that you could pull in, but this may for some not be like a total look palette, for example, but you probably already have something neutral in your collection if you want to use that as a companion to this. But I felt like pretty good about using all of the shades that I did in this palette. The one color that I did pull in was from the Spectrum palette, just one of the matte shades to kind of soften this area here, but that was just personal preference, stylistic preference of how I tend to do my eye looks. Try to keep it a little bit softer and lighter in the brow bone area, but I've seen some creators who maybe don't have the brows. My brows can be a little dramatic sometimes, but you know, if you don't have brows, you're kind of just going for something a little bit more avant-garde or editorial. This is stunning. The formulations are beautiful. The colors are very rich. If you have a deeper skin tone, I would definitely say like this is going to be, these are really beautiful colors. Like for medium to deep girlies that are looking for something colorful, there was no ash. There was no no hint of ash in this, and that made me really happy. I personally love seeing color stories like this because for me, I think colors like this, like the reds and the blues and the purples, I think they're really pretty with brown eyes and on medium to deep skin. So I just want to say, Betty Jean, you did a beautiful job on this palette. I'm really looking forward to pulling this one out more throughout the spooky season, if you will, the winter season, and getting some use out of this. And we have our cute little witch kitty here as well. And I want to say thank you to Fantasy Cosmetica and Betty Jean for sharing this creation with me. It's beautiful and I'm looking forward to creating some more looks with this. And this is the part where I tell you guys to make sure to like this video if you enjoy content like this. Make sure that you sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this look. Did you enjoy the kind of old school tutorial thing that I did here where I actually just did like one in-depth look with you guys, or do you prefer multiple looks? I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't yet already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I am so grateful for this community that is growing and for each one of you that takes time out of your day to hang out with me and chat about makeup. It's so cool to have you here. It's just been so nice. You guys are amazing and I'm so grateful to each of you in all of the different ways that you show support to my channel. It's just so appreciated. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time today and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!